Okay, these will be the process speech critiques that were submitted, and we'll get into those. There's a few things you really need to know, and I do not know how or what I need to do or say in order to get you as a group, and I do find it terribly distasteful to criticize generically. But I have to do that in this kind of a situation, and I'm pretty sure you know who you are, even if it is generic. Number one, I will no longer, period, look at any speech not posted in Connect. Do not post a speech in YouTube and expect me to look at it. I simply will not do that. Please understand that. I will not look for a speech other than where it is supposed to be. Point one. Point two. Guess where I'm going? See the shot? You could fill in the rest of it. This is the only shot I want to see in any of your speeches, with a tripod or something to keep the camera from bouncing up and down while you're talking. For that same reason, when you're giving your speech, look at me, the camera. Do not look at your audience, and for some of you that are doing that, it would be very unnerving because you're doing the kind of the machine gun kind of approach. And when you do that, you're not talking to anyone. You talk to this side of the audience for a while, you're moving your head up just a little bit. You kind of come back a little bit, and while you're talking to this part of the audience, you do, and then you're talking to this side of the audience. But you're not doing boom, 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 boom. It's nice and slow, but I don't want you to do that for these speeches because I need to be able to see your eye contact and whether or not you're connecting. All right, we've set it to a couple of you. Watch the light. We need light on your face so we can see who you are and what you're doing. Another thing, outlines. Now, I don't know, again, what to say or do to get you to understand. You send me 2 outlines. I don't know what you intend it to be, and frankly, I can't tell in some of the cases that you've ever looked at the textbook to see what it's supposed to look like. Each outline and every single paper you send me must have your name, and then the outline must tell me whether it's a preparation outline, speaking outline, whatever it says you have to do. You have to label it that way. I can't guess what you intend that outline to be. Please understand that. Do not post any materials in Connect. Do not leave me any messages in Connect. Are those of you that kind of pay attention to what I say starting to hear some recurring themes here? I hope. Because if you continue to do it, I guarantee you your grade will go down, letter grades, plural, if you continue not to pay attention to some of the fundamental things that I say to you. You're going to hear some more things as I give these critiques, so pay close attention. Disney, your grade for your first speech, the self-introduction speech, will show up in the Excel grade sheet when it's sent out. Probably be sending one out on Monday. Next up, Disney, you gave a speech on tornadoes. All right, couple of things. For all of you, you're going to see this especially from this point on. Your critique says credibility established or some variation of that. So, what's your credibility? The mere fact that you've read a book about tornadoes is not as good as I'm a tornado survivor, I'm a weather forecaster, I have been involved with storm chasers, any of that. But just to give a speech on something, and on top of that, it turns the speech into an informational speech and not a process speech. So please understand, process is kind of chronological. This, then this, then that. That's why I told you in terms of cooking shows, that's the best example because they take step by step how to make something. When you give a tornado has got a cloud, and then let me just tell you some things. First of all, positive. You had a good shot and you have a very good appearance in your speeches. Don't read so much at the start of your speeches. I need to see eye contact. I'm reading more than I want you to read because I need to read what my notes are that I took. I will not look at speeches posted in YouTube. Please establish your credibility. The fact that you read a book yesterday about it is not credibility. Also, what is the credibility of your sources? If you say, I am quoting now from Kids Alive worksite, what is it? What's its credibility? Don't just grab stuff and throw it out there. And, you know, there's going to be some college classes. They will absolutely not allow you to use Wikipedia as a source, because Wikipedia as a source, anybody can go on and alter it and add things or take things out. And so for a college student to rely on that is just insane. I've got to fix something here. All right. So do not rely on Wikipedia for your speeches. Hang on, I got to plug in my little clock so that I will not run out of battery while I am doing that. I've got that taken care of. All right. More for Disney. Excuse yourself when you clear your throat. So you're speaking, excuse me. You just say it. You've done that in both of your speeches. You do it a lot. Excuse yourself when you do it. Also, what is your source for your definition? You gave a pretty elaborate source for a definition of what a tornado is. I don't think you made that up, and if you did, then you're failing the speech because you're not an authority on tornadoes. You didn't give a source. Watch the hair flip. It's a little light. But you also said 1,000 tornadoes nationwide, that there will be 1,000 tornadoes nationwide. Says who? Where did that come from? Don't just throw out stuff and not say where it's from. All right, this was informational more than a process speech. You seem kind of disinterested in your own information, and your outlines don't meet the criteria, and we already talked about that. Next up is Beach. Beach, you talked about a job interview. Okay, who's your audience for this? There's a couple of you that have problems with that. Who is your audience? How many people in your speech class are seeking jobs? That's who you're talking to. And if your audience happens to be family members who are 16 or 17, how many of them are seeking jobs? You have to kind of alter your speech to your audience, or if it's something that most of the people in the audience could care less about, why are you giving it? Keep that in mind. Frame up your shot so you are centered in the shot for the entire speech. You had all kinds of room over here, this way, and you weren't centered. Notice that we're centered in this as much as possible. What else? Smooth out your flow so that you don't repeat as many of the things as you repeated. It's not stuttering because you've got like phrases that you'll repeat, whole phrases. So you have like whole phrases that you'll repeat. And then you say like whole phrases that you'll repeat. And sometimes you'll say like whole phrases you repeat, just one right after another without anything in between. You need a little more light on yourself. What is your credibility for this speech? Are you an HR person? Are you a person that hires people? Make sure you establish your credibility. You're reading a lot, especially at the start. You need a little bit more energy. You do a pretty good job, but let's get a little more energy in it. Your camera is slightly soft focused, makes it a little bit difficult for me. Your outlines are not labeled for what they are, kind of a weak ending. You have a light tisk, this kind of sound. And also watch your ums and ahs. Next up is Blackhawks. You spoke about the 6-step sales process. I could care less. I am not going to be a salesman. Now, you know what? While you were doing that, I'm thinking, all right, you're talking to salespeople, but how many of us have something that we're trying to sell, but we don't see ourselves as salesmen? Let's say you're in an organization of some kind, you're trying to get more members. That's a sales pitch. So not everybody in your audience cares about selling, so you might need to explain to them how this could help them in other areas that they don't necessarily see as sales. Good appearance. That's a very much of a plus. You have way too much room noise. It is very hard to hear you, and your background is noisy too, visually noisy. Look like monitors, TV monitors of some kind. Who is your audience for the speech? I don't care about the ones that were actually there. You need eye contact with me, the camera. You're kind of that shotgun, machine gun kind of thing. Be careful of that. Slow down just a bit. Don't show your audience at the end of the speech. For one, you had the camera move so fast I was getting dizzy and I couldn't have told who they were anyhow. So don't do that. All class-related materials must be emailed to me from your Ivy Tech email address to my Ivy Tech email address, not posted in Connect or Blackboard, and the same for any messages you want me to get. Next up is Savannah. You spoke about bearded dragons. You know what your biggest mistake was from the very beginning? You never told us what a bearded dragon was. For some people, it could be a flower. I think it's in the lizard family, but I don't know because you didn't help me on that. So you have the wrong shot. You need more light on your face. You really never said what a bearded dragon was. Your audio is distorted. It's almost, I don't know how to define it, but it's very difficult. You were 1 minute and 12 seconds in before I had to read the top, the kind of your outline to figure out what your topic was. And again, not everybody knows what a bearded dragon is, so keep that in mind. You needed sources. You said a lot of things that were very specific, and maybe you know some of it. And in that case, then you say, one of the things I've learned over a period of time is. But if you say you can't put 2 bearded dragons in the same cage, why? Who says? Okay? You were reading too much. The flow was very uneven. You mentioned 2 lights. I later found out that one of them you were talking about a UVB light, ultraviolet B. I don't know. I don't even know if ultraviolet is right. You can't do that in a speech. You can't use terms that you know very well and expect us, the audience, to know what you're talking about. You know, the other thing is, in a cooking show, and I said this to you folks, you put it in the oven, and this is what it looks like when you take it out. You spent the entire speech talking about a bearded dragon, and you never showed us a bearded dragon, even a picture. You can't do that. You know, you got to think in terms of your audience. What is it? Many times I can't understand what you're saying. That's in part because of the audio. And this was more of an informational speech than a process speech. I've already said you never showed us anything you were talking about. You have a light tisk. And pretty much, establish your credibility at the top. I raised bearded dragons all my life. I'm a particular fan of bearded dragons. I don't know. You didn't tell me. Sherlock, you were going to speak about aseptic gowning because I saw your notes. I didn't see your speech. I can't find it. I have no idea where it is. Where is your speech? It's a speech class. It's not an outline class, so make sure that it's put somewhere, and if it's not put anywhere in Connect, I need to know why. Okay? Now, the speech is going to come real fast. We are pretty well into this class. It's an 8-week class. It's over with early March. So you can see you've got a lot to do. Stay up to date on the discussion boards. Make sure you get all the exams in. Read the instructions on the speeches so that you're doing them right, and take it from there. If you have any questions at all, call me in my office. And as I said already to Disney, I will be posting a new Excel grade sheet probably on Monday. I'll send it to your email address through Blackboard. And also we'll update the grades in the grade book. So, again, any questions, give me a call in my office. Have a great President's Day on Monday, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.